"Until we meet again" were the words that stayed behind long after the message was shared, words that carried weight, faith, and a quiet strength that did not need explanation. When Ron Kenoly's wife spoke them, she was not making a public announcement or seeking attention. She was opening a window into a deeply personal moment shaped by years of love, shared purpose, and unwavering belief. Ron Kenoly has spent most of his life leading others in worship, guiding voices toward faith, hope, and connection through music. His songs became prayers for millions, echoing through churches, homes, and hearts around the world. Yet behind the ministry, behind the stage lights and recordings, existed a life built on partnership. His wife stood beside him through seasons few people ever saw. Her farewell was not loud or dramatic. It was calm, thoughtful, and rooted in faith. It reflected the voice of someone who had walked a long road and understood the meaning of trust. Rather than explaining details, she allowed emotion to speak through simplicity. That simplicity made her words powerful. She spoke of love not as a feeling, but as a commitment shaped over time. Love, she shared, is formed through patience, sacrifice, forgiveness, and faith. It is strengthened in moments of uncertainty and proven in times of surrender. Her message reflected a relationship built on shared belief rather than public recognition. Throughout their journey together, ministry demanded more than talent. It required resilience. It required the willingness to place calling above comfort and faith above fear. She acknowledged the weight that responsibility carried not only for Ron but for their family. Yet she spoke without regret, honoring the purpose that guided them forward. There were moments she described that never reached an audience. Quiet prayers before long days, conversations held in silence, and moments when faith was tested more than celebrated. Those moments, she revealed, were the foundation of their strength. They shaped their bond far more than any stage ever could. Her farewell carried peace rather than sorrow. It recognized change without being consumed by it. She spoke of surrender as an act of trust, not loss. Trust in God's plan, trust in timing, and trust that separation does not erase connection. For those who followed Ron Kenoly's ministry, her words offered a rare glimpse into the humanity behind the worship. Many listeners had leaned on his music during personal struggles. Hearing his wife speak with such honesty reminded them that faith leaders also walk through uncertainty and rely on grace. She emphasized gratitude throughout her message. Gratitude for shared years, shared calling, and shared faith. Gratitude for lessons learned through difficulty and growth found in perseverance. Her words honored every season, not only the joyful ones. The phrase, "until we meet again," was spoken with hope, not despair. It reflected a belief that life's journeys are not defined by endings but by transitions. That belief resonated deeply, offering comfort to anyone facing change or separation. Her message did not attempt to resolve every emotion. It allowed space for reflection, prayer, and silence. It acknowledged that faith does not eliminate pain but provides strength to endure it. That honesty made her farewell relatable and deeply human. She spoke of partnership as something shaped through shared purpose. Ministry was not a solo calling, she explained. It required unity, patience, and mutual sacrifice. Their journey was not without strain, but it was guided by commitment and belief. Community played a central role in her farewell. She expressed appreciation for those who offered prayer, encouragement, and understanding throughout the years. Faith, she reminded listeners, is sustained through collective support and shared compassion. As her words continued, it became clear that this farewell was not an ending but a turning point. She spoke of stepping forward with courage, carrying faith into the unknown. There was no bitterness, only resolve grounded in trust. Listeners responded with overwhelming support. Messages poured in from around the world, sharing how Ron Kenoly's music shaped lives and how his wife's words offered comfort during personal transitions. Her farewell became a shared moment of reflection for many. She described love as something that adapts, endures, and transforms. Even when circumstances shift, love remains rooted in faith. Her words reflected maturity, patience, and grace developed through years of devotion. Faith remained the central thread throughout her message, not faith as performance but faith as lived experience. She spoke of trusting God without demanding answers and believing in purpose even when clarity is absent. Her farewell carried dignity. It did not invite speculation or drama. Instead, it offered peace and reassurance. It reminded listeners that strength often appears quietly through acceptance and hope. She acknowledged the weight of change, recognizing that transitions require courage. Yet she framed that courage as something nurtured through faith rather than fear. Her words encouraged others to face uncertainty with trust. The message resonated because it felt genuine. It was not crafted for attention. It was shared as an offering of honesty. That authenticity allowed listeners to connect deeply with her experience. She returned often to gratitude, emphasizing that thankfulness sustains faith during difficult seasons. Gratitude for support, for lessons learned, and for the journey itself. Her perspective reflected wisdom gained through perseverance. Her farewell also honored legacy, not legacy defined by fame but by faithfulness. By lives touched, prayers offered, and love shared, she acknowledged the impact of Ron Kenoly's ministry while grounding it in humility. As the message drew toward its close, her tone remained steady. She spoke calmly with assurance rooted in belief. There was no urgency, only peace. "Until we meet again" was spoken as a promise shaped by faith. A promise that connection continues beyond distance and love endures beyond circumstance. It reflected hope anchored in belief rather than certainty. The farewell left listeners with reflection rather than conclusion. It encouraged faith during change and reminded them that trust often requires release. Her words lingered because they spoke truth gently. They honored the past while embracing the future. They reflected a faith tested and strengthened through time. For those who listened, the message became more than a farewell. It became a reminder that faith carries people through transitions with dignity, that love remains steady even when paths shift. In the end, her farewell offered peace, not dramatic peace but quiet assurance, the kind that settles hearts and strengthens resolve. Through her words, Ron Kenoly's wife shared something deeply meaningful. She shared grace in transition and hope in uncertainty. And as her final phrase echoed, it carried faith beyond the moment itself. "Until we meet again."